What is going on, YouTube? Alright, I did something a little bit stupid. I traded in my perfectly good Jeep Cherokee for an empty Ford cargo van. And we're gonna convert her. I've always loved traveling and exploring and going on adventures, and I've seen the van life movement and I've seen all these things online, and I know it glorifies it, but it really just inspired me to just get out there and have a sense of wonder for the world. And I'm so excited to start this project. I think it's gonna open up so many opportunities and just really enrich my life. In all seriousness, I've never built something like this before. The only guidance I've had has been van life YouTubers and YouTube videos and just researching online, Pinterest, all of those things. So it's gonna be a challenge. I just got back for winter break from college yesterday, and I have a little over 3 weeks, so we're gonna see what we can do by then. But yeah, I'm excited to share this with you guys. Enjoy the video. All right, so let's start with the van itself. This is a 2005 Ford E250 cargo van. Her name is Margot. She's very festive. She has a bunch of stickers of places that I've been. And she is completely empty. She's a little bit dirty. So originally I was given this van by my grandpa. And I was like, sick, free van, I get to start on this, and it's only gonna cost me money to build it and furnish it, because I figured that it was all mechanically sound. Guys, before you start your build, before you start planning your build, make sure your van is mechanically sound, because we wound up taking this to Firestone and it cost $2,300. The whole brake system was rotted off, it needed new shocks, there was water in the headlights, especially with older vans like this. I know this isn't too old, but for van lifers, you're gonna find older vans from like the 80s, 90s, whatever. Make sure it's good before you start it. Make sure it's safe, because that'll save you time, it'll save you money, and it'll save you a lot of worry and hassle. So one of the first things we have to do with this build is basically strip the van of all the things we don't want, because this was a work van. It has a lot of mats, it has upholstery that we don't like, so dirty stuff like this, it's gotta go. And as you can see from the looks of things right now, I really got to get in here and do some scrubbing and some cleaning, so yay! Alright, after getting the van at least sort of clean, it's time to really start insulating. So what we got is we have a bunch of these. It's Frost King cotton insulation, alright? So with foamy cottony insulations like this, you're going to want to make sure that you get something that doesn't have chemicals, because I've heard from other YouTubers and through researching that some of these can be bad for your health. So this says right here, contains no VOCs or formaldehyde, improving indoor air quality. So you want to make sure you get something like this, at least for the stage of stuffing it into the empty pockets of the ribs and all in these little nooks and crannies and holes, and that's our first layer of insulation. So we got these. These are, what are they? Farmstead Hickory floorboards, and they all fit together. They're 12 millimeters, and basically one box covers about 20 square feet, and we sort of overestimated the van as about 60, so we got 3 boxes of these. Something else that's really important to keep in mind when you're getting floorboards like this is you want to make sure you get something that has some kind of material on the back. Because if it's not, it's going to be too flimsy and flexible. You can hardly bend this, and that's really important when you're putting it down on the floor. You want something that when you stand on, it's not going to bend, you know, and you're going to have a firm floor to actually stand on. So that's pretty important. So these are the floor pieces that I was just showing you, and we just snapped a few in. Obviously, we haven't filled it out yet. They're really simple to slide in. They all have tongue and grooves. And if you guys want to get yourself one of these universal tapping blocks, and you just line it up with the edge, and you can use a hammer, and that will really help like seal the gaps and stuff and make it look a lot more flush. But yeah, we're just laying this down now, and this back little piece comes off with some trim, so we're gonna like clamp it down there, and then we're just gonna really work on using some extra pieces, cutting some pieces, because obviously it doesn't go all the way to the chairs up there. We're gonna cut some pieces, and we're gonna get the floor all settled. Just rough hand cutting with a jigsaw to fill in some empty spots like this and like right over there. But some of the spots were honestly like over there we're just gonna leave open because we're gonna put cabinets and stuff there anyway. A lot of that's gonna be covered by the bed, but we just have some extra boards, so we're just doing it. But yeah, here's our rough floor, and right up here we're gonna meet the floor with like a little carpet, so the edge isn't perfect, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah, we're cutting a few corners, but overall it looks really good, all the stuff that you're gonna see. Okay, I didn't mention this earlier, but the reason that we didn't lay any sort of subfloor or anything for our floor here is because we already had kind of an insulated mat that kind of came with the van that already provided some structure for the floor. So if you're just dealing with an empty van or something that you don't feel comfortable standing on, just lay down a sheet of plywood, custom fitting, custom cutting. You can find how to do that. A bunch of other videos, but for this purpose, our floor is pretty flat here to walk on because we had that base already. So we were still waiting on our insulation to come in the mail. So we went to the store and we got a bunch of these 2x4s, and we were going to use this to make the bed frame. We also got 5 sheets of this OSB plywood board, and we were going to use that for the top of the bed and also for some other miscellaneous things. Originally we bought these 1x3x8 boards to use as furring strips after we did the rolling insulation, so we would have something to affix the cedar planks to the wall to. But we found out that they're not very springy and they're a little bit rigid. So what we did is, using the OSB that we talked about earlier, the same board we're going to use for the bed, we're just going to cut our own custom furring strips out of that. That way when they're cut thinly, they'll have a little bit of spring to it, and that'll be able to sort of go with the natural contour. What we are probably going to wind up using these guys for is to build part of the frame for the boxes that we're making for the bed around the wheel well, and we can also use these for cabinets and for other little stuff. So not bad to have a little bit of extra wood lying around. It's a good problem to have. So using the measurements we made of the van, we decided to go with a full mattress size because that would fit pretty well, and we came up with this design, which is basically just 2 big boxes around the wheel wells, made out of the 2x4s and reinforced by the OSB. And where you see that I'm drawing right now, we're going to put hinges, so those 2 flaps are going to flip up and there's going to be some storage under there. And then under the middle, we're going to put 3 legs out of plywood and then just reinforce that brace with OSB. Alright, so after a bunch of measuring and cutting, we've got 4 47-inch 2x4s to run horizontally. We've got 4 10-inch 2x4s to run vertically, and we've got a bunch of 7-inch little guys to be the edge of the box. I just finished up the second one and I just dropped it in here. It's a little bit annoying because this side actually extended a little bit farther than this, so I had to make this one a little bit longer. But here's the beginning of the 2 frames. We still have to take these guys and extend them this way and that way, and also take another one of these and put it long ways for both sides. But we're just going to wait until we have our board up on this side to actually connect them to so they're solid. But yeah, here's the start of the bed. The next day I added the top pieces and finished up the wheel well boxes. And basically everything was good. We were just waiting on the insulation so we could add our furring strips and then actually attach them to the wall and get them secure. Alright, so our big rolling insulation has come in the mail. I had to start measuring and cutting and start putting this on the wall. We're using this adhesive spray and it's gonna be sick. All right, so we just finished our installation of Margot here, and you can see she looks like a giant lunchbox. And basically it's freezing outside, so we're going in, and tomorrow we're gonna come back and cut some little pieces of the rolling insulation, and we're just gonna use foil tape and stick it to the little spots that need it, and then use the excess leftover to shove it into the doors and pockets that we missed before. So yeah. All right, so now it's time to start cutting our custom furring strips out of that OSB board over there. My dad's being a champ, and he's backing in Margot right now as we speak. Honestly, my dad has been such a great help with all of this. Get yourself a dad like mine because he's the best. So we use these special lath screws to actually attach the OSB board to the wall of the van, and we marked on our insulation before where the ribs were, so we weren't actually drilling out the side. And what I said earlier about the OSB having play and flex really worked out here because it was able to go with the curve. Alright, so we did a little bit more shopping, and you're looking at our wall right here. We got a bunch of these at Home Depot. We did some measuring. We got a bunch of 6-foot ones, 10-foot ones, and 12-foot ones for the different sizes that we're going to be cutting them to. Just like the floor, they're tongue and groove, so they're going to be a little bit easier to attach to each other, and we are just going to attach them to the furring strips. I didn't like how bland they looked, so we just picked up some of this wood stain. So that's what I'm going to be doing now to make it look a little nicer. So now we are attempting to put this first one up, so yeah. Alright, fun fact we discovered during the whole wall process is we are using this level right here to make sure that all of our wall boards are level.
You better make sure.
Yeah, you better make sure that your van is actually level, because our van is actually kind of on a curved driveway. So we backed the wheels up onto some bricks, because if your van isn't level and you're using the level inside of it, you're not accomplishing anything. So just make sure either your van is level, or when you're leveling your wall planks, you're not going by where the actual bubble is. You're comparing where the bubble is when you put it on the floor to where it is on the wall. We did not know that, but
We do now.
we do now, yeah.
With our walls and ceilings starting to take place, it was time to sort out our electronics. We bought these lights on Amazon, and we bought this outlet, which basically amounts to an extension cord, and this light switch and dimmer. So we had to drill the holes out with a hole drill bit and a jigsaw. We had this old ottoman lying around, so we reinforced it with wood and decided to use it to house our electrical system. We threw all of our toys into the van, and this is what we wound up with. For Christmas, I got this Jackery Explorer battery, which is what we're using to run our stuff off of. The 12-volt output runs into the fuse box, which then runs to the dimmer switch for the lights, and the AC plug connects straight to the battery. We also added some extra cords and cables for a fan and solar panels for when I can actually afford those. The Ottoman's great because it actually doubles as a seat and no one knows the difference. This process was entirely new to us, so there was a big learning curve, but after a while, things started to run smoothly. Saving wood trim and molding for last, we continued on to finish our walls, ceiling, and doors. Then it was time to affix our bed boxes to the van and start cutting our OSB board for the platform. We added hinges on our outer pieces as planned, and everything went smoothly. And we had storage bins. We added 3 2x4 legs to provide support for the bed, and we also added an extra outlet in the back. For the kitchen area, I knew I wanted something that would have a sink and also some space underneath, but I wasn't skilled enough to make cabinets, so I basically just made a table out of some 2x4s and some wood and cut the custom holes in it to put basically just a stainless steel bowl and a hand pump faucet that I bought on Amazon. I'm using 2 water jugs underneath for gray water and sink water, and I'm just hiding everything with a black curtain. One of the last things, my dad was epic enough to custom cut some carpet and glue it in there with some trim, make it look nice. By this time, everything is basically finished and it's time to actually start putting stuff inside the van. So we bought this full-sized memory foam mattress that we actually had to hand cut down to size in order to fit in the van. So we just threw that on in there. I couldn't resist putting a few little decorative touches, like this sign here and the little shelf, and of course the steering wheel cover.
But I wanted most of the stuff in the van and most of the decorations to come from places that I take it to, places that I actually travel to, which I think will make it a lot more special. So over time, I'm sure it'll get even more cool as I decorate it with stuff.
So after 3 weeks of work and lucky weather, the van was finished.
As you can see, we have our wood here on these doors and our wood there with enough room for the handle. And yeah, this is basically what we got right now. Not everything is perfect. We still have more stuff coming. We still have a tapestry and a curtain rod that we're gonna hang here, so when we sleep, it's gonna cover this whole front part up. And obviously in the future, I wanna get something a little bit nicer than just a black curtain. But yeah, all of our electrical's in. Our bed's here. We got all of our wood. We have some wood trim, some trim for the carpet. Yeah, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now this setup is by no means meant for full-time van living. Obviously, if you're gonna be in this thing full-time, you're gonna do some better work with the electrical system and better work with the sink and do stuff a little bit more professionally, I guess. But this is a more of a kind of a DIY sort of like road trip, national park, kind of like camping thing. Yeah, and I'm really stoked with the way it turned out. We didn't know what we were doing at all. We kind of just relied on the internet and just like researching and just looking stuff up. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Thank you for coming to my channel. There's more to come. See you guys later.